everybody. As most of you, I think, know, Sean is on reserve duty for the rest of this week, so I will be briefing you today and in the following days. I've got a few announcements here at the top before I take your questions. I have an update on the tunnel collapse at the Hanford Nuclear Waste Site in Washington State. The incident is moving from the emergency phase toward the recovery phase. After extensive testing, we remain confident at this point that there has been no indication of worker exposure or airborne radiological release. Personnel began taking steps to stabilize and fill the hole over the partially collapsed tunnel last night, and we expect those efforts to be completed today. The site remains closed to non-essential personnel. Dedicated experts on the ground are looking closely at what next steps should be taken with respect to mitigating future tunnel breaches. In Washington, D.C. today, as Sean mentioned yesterday, the president is focused on preparations for his upcoming foreign trip. He met this morning with the Russian foreign minister following on the visit of Secretary of State Tillerson to Moscow last month. A readout of that meeting went out about an hour ago, and I've referred you to that for further questions on the meeting. Outside of D.C., as part of the administration's ongoing effort to address the opioid crisis in America, Secretary Price continues his listening tour, learning from those on the front lines battling the epidemic. Today, he will meet with officials in Maine and New Hampshire to discuss how the administration can best support the local initiatives to combat this tragedy. Secretary Zinke is in Utah today, visiting national monument sites and meeting with local officials to comply with the president's